Hi, welcome to BizJet TV. My name is Fabrizio Poli and I know exactly why you're here today. You're thinking of buying an entry-level private jet. You're not quite sure of how this whole thing works, which airplane to choose from, and that's happening because the whole lockdown situation is called disruption. The airline at your local airport is no longer there, or alternatively, the airline that's there has now scrapped the routes that you needed or reduced the frequency on those routes. So as a consequence, and this is happening all over the world, more and more people are looking into private jet ownership because it's just convenient to have an airplane parked in the hangar 15 minutes from your office that can spring into action at short notice, and off you go to do your business meetings. So it's a great business tool. So if you haven't subscribed to BizJet TV, this channel is all about private aviation. The goal here is to educate you and make you realize how incredible business tool the private jet is. Lots of interviews with owners of jets talking about different jets and situations in the market. That's what we do here at BizJet TV. So please subscribe, give us a thumbs up and comment below. But that's all from me on this intro. Let's get straight into the private jet, entry-level private jet decision. How do you choose which jet and what the process looks like? Off we go. So the first thing that you need to consider is the range. So where are you actually going to be going with this aircraft? That's the first thing. The second thing is, would it be a benefit for you to be able to land on unpaved runways? And the way to figure that out is to look at the destinations you're going to and seeing where, if there are any unpaved runways nearby. Because if the main airport you're going to is, an hour and a half away from your meeting, but there's an unpaved runway 10 minutes away, then that may be something you may want to consider because it's going to save you stacks of time. It's always about time. That's the reason why people buy, use, operate private jets, is to save time. So that's the first thing. Now, most of the people now coming in with, entry-level jets are looking to buy a smaller jet. But there are people, and, we've got a client right now that's, leasing a larger jet because they have a need to fly long distance. And so the leasing option is certainly one to consider, a 12-month lease, an 18-month lease, a 3-year lease, whatever it may be. But that's certainly something that you need to look into because in that way, you don't have to outlay $25 million to buy the airplane. You pay a deposit and then you pay a monthly fee for the airplane, and on top of that, the operating costs on that. So that's something that you need to consider. But let's look at the market of the smaller aircraft. 2,000 nautical mile radius. And so a lot of it will depend on your mission profile. Also, how many people are you going to be flying? And do you need to fly cargo with your people? I mean, some people, fly engineers with equipment on board. Some people like to take their products with them, and some of the products can be bulky, depends on what business you're in. And this is why, on this episode, and like all the episodes of BizJet TV, we can only really give you general information. And then what I recommend is you get on the phone or do a Zoom call and that with somebody like myself that can pinpoint you in the right direction, get very, very specific to your type of operation. I mean, this is a lot of money to invest in a jet, and you have to do it carefully, and you have to do it in the right way. So getting technical advice, somebody that's been in the industry for a while, is certainly my recommendation on that. Now, the other factor to consider is because obviously when you buy an airplane, and it used to be that people would buy an airplane if they were going to fly 2 to 250 hours a year. Now, because of the whole COVID thing, and as I said in the intro, there aren't that many airline flights available like there used to be. Even people now are sort of considering if they're going to fly 100, 150 hours a year to buy a jet. And the advantage is you've got the jet sitting in the hangar at the local airport, but for that aircraft to sit, it's going to cost you money. You obviously pay for the airplane, you're paying for the hangar, you're paying for some of the maintenance, you're paying for the insurance, and you're paying for the pilots. So if you spend, $1 million to buy the airplane, and there are airplanes out there you can buy for $1 million, the smaller ones, the Citations, the Hawkers, and that you can pick up for that kind of money today. If you have a single pilot airplane, you may be paying your pilot $80,000 a year. But if you've got 2 pilots, you're outlaying a lot more money on those fixed costs. So if you have a single pilot airplane, then you only have to employ 1 pilot. And then what you can do is you can bring in a freelance guy, pay them $100, $200 a day to act as the co-pilot. And there's lots of young people out there just out of flight school or working as a flight instructor that would love to do some jet time or turboprop time, and that you can call on. And if you're going to fly twice a week, that's 8 flights a month. $100 a flight. That's $800 a month instead of paying them maybe $3,000 or $4,000 a month. So you'd save some money there. The other thing that you need to consider, and some people like to charter their airplane out when they're not using it. There is an advantage to doing that. You'll obviously recoup some of the money. Some of those fixed costs will be covered by the charters, and that helps to pay for your flights and to pay for the airplane. So that's something that appeals to certain people. But the disadvantage if you do something like that is you won't have the airplane available 24/7. So let's say this morning the airplane's gone out on a charter from, say you're based in Boston, and the airplane's gone out to, I don't know, Charlotte, and it's away for the day, it's coming back tonight, and then suddenly there's a situation that develops business-wise, and you say, oh, I need to go to New York this afternoon, but you can't because your airplane's away. How much is not going to that meeting going to cost you? How much is delaying that meeting to the next day going to cost you? So you have to think in those terms. The jet is a business tool. If it's available 24/7, then you can use it to spring into action at short notice, beat the competition, all that kind of stuff. You can use it that way, but other people do like to say, they're more of a numbers person. They like to look at the spreadsheet, and they say, you know what, we'll buy the airplane, we'll fly 100 hours a year, but we'll charter it out for 100, 150 hours a year because, pretty much we know where we're going to be going with the jet for the next 12 months, so we can plan. These are the days we're going to be using the jet. These are the days that it's available for charter. Off we go. If we can, recoup $150,000, $200,000 a year by doing charters, and that helps the balance sheet. And some people like to run their business that way. And if that's what you want to do and that's what you feel is best for you, then great, by all means. And this is why, we need to get specific. We need to sort of hone down on 2 or 3 aircraft types and then pick out of those 3 which is the best one suited for you, and then hone in on that particular market and see what we can do to acquire that aircraft. And then of course the management of the aircraft is going to be important too. So these are the factors that need to be considered. So I recommend you get on, hire an aviation advisor to help you through the process so that you are making the right decision as far as the airplane's concerned, and whether it's a lease, whether you're buying an airplane and which airplane you're buying and how it's operated, if you're going to operate it just yourself, or you want to put it on an AOC, an Air Operator Certificate, or Part 135 as they call it in the US, and charter it out when you're not using it. These are all things that need to be considered. And also, when you're buying an aircraft, if you're going to charter it out, is there a market for that type of aircraft where you live or not? That needs to be considered as well, if that's the route you want to go down. So this is why we really need to get specific on your needs. So I encourage you to have a look at the other videos here, the playlist here of the different aircraft that are out there to give you an idea, and lots of other information here on BizJet TV about private jet operations, interviews with different owners and how they use the jet and the process that they went through. And these are all things that we've done here and we continue doing here on BizJet TV. And the goal here is to sort of educate the market and realize that the private jet is a great business tool. So if you haven't subscribed to BizJet TV, I encourage you to subscribe, click on the notification bell, also give us a thumbs up and comment below. We'd love to hear from you, any suggestions and recommendations. Remember, we are also on Telegram, so follow us on Telegram. It's BizJet TV on Telegram, and the conversation's going on there too. And that's all from Fabrizio Poli on BizJet TV, and I'll see you on the next one.